chance.
Right!
Go on. You're sure to hit him eventually.
Don't give up now. Who are you?
Chin up, lad. You're going to be a soldier.
Joshua.
Today we are breaking down the Final Fantasy XVI demo, which was only about 2 hours long, but we got a peek at our protagonist, Clive, and we got a ton of backstory. Before we begin, I just wanted to say that the playthrough I did, which is kind of an immersive experience, because I don't have a microphone on my PlayStation, but I have the playthrough on my archive channel, which I will link, and it will be in the descriptions. But going forward, I do want to say that the rest of this video is going to be very spoilery. So if you have not played the demo and would like to, please do that or watch my VOD of it. But I highly believe you should play it yourself because it's an amazing little demo, even though it's pretty short. We start the demo out with an intense fight between two Ilkons. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but we start the demo there, and then we fade into Clive, who is on the battlefield. They are trying to capture Shiva, and then we also get a sneak peek at a meeting between two factions, and we meet the Titan, who is fighting with the Delmex, and we also see a king from a different faction who could possibly also be a dominant, but he doesn't say anything, so there's really no give there for any information. But the two things that I took away from this beginning scene were there are 2 to 3 factions, and most of them have dominance, and the Delmex, which were the ones fighting against Shiva and had Titan, also had pushed the Imperials back at one point before the Imperials had a dominant. That'll maybe be important later on. And then after that part of the demo ends, we are taken back to the past, where we meet Archduke Elwyn, Duchess Annabelle, Joshua, who is a dominant in the Phoenix, and Clive, who is an outcast from his family for not being a dominant, so now he is a shield, and then Jill, who literally had no part, but I'm gonna assume she is their sister because of other parts that happened, but that's just me assuming. It took me forever even to figure out her name. And then of course, most important, Torgal, the sweet baby boy. And it's at this part we find out that the Blight is kind of taking over the land, and the Archduke is going to take the Phoenix, Joshua, and Clive and their army to go do the rite of the Phoenix and collect the Mother Crystal. After fighting some goblins and some land that was taken over by the Blight, we meet up at the rendezvous point where we find out the Rossfields have been betrayed from within and basically been tattled on as to what they're going to do. After the beheading of the Archduke, the Phoenix, Joshua, loses absolute control and turns into the Phoenix. But since I'm believing he's so young, he can't control his powers yet. He hasn't, been formed to do that. And then upon seeing his brother lose control and not know what he's doing, Clive transforms into Ifrit, which is shocking because people are like, there can be only one flame econ, but now there are 2. And it seems as if when you turn into them, if you aren't prepared, you lose control and you don't know what's going on. And then after a very intense an emotional battle. I boo-hooed because it was just so sad and so intense. We find out that Clive's see you next Tuesday mother is the one who kind of ratted, whether it be to protect Joshua in this weird way or just because she's a jerk. They find Clive, he's still alive, and she's like, oh, he can go fight for you guys. I don't care. I don't care anything about him. And they sentence him to being a soldier in the Imperial Army. Another important part that we find out is that the Rossfield or Rosalith army has also pushed the Imperials back before. So here are my theories. I think it's safe to assume that the Imperials, after this ends, the Imperials probably find out that Clive is an Ilkhan, and they're like, oh, well, we can perform the rite of whatever and get the mother crystals, because you need the mother crystals to basically live, and you need to share them with the land. I'm gonna assume the Imperials are not into that and want to keep them for themselves. I'm also going to take the assumption that Shiva is Jill. I think that whole family from the second part of the demo are Ilkhans. I think Joshua's probably going to come back because it's a phoenix, which means rebirth. I think Joshua is probably found by someone else and kept safe. And then I'm assuming Jill is probably going to run because she doesn't agree with what's happening, and she's Shiva, which is why the Imperials are there, and that's why the Delmex are there. Who's good? Who knows? I also think the Imperials, because they've been pushed back so much, are basically, you know, like the losers, like tired of getting pushed around, getting their lunch tray like slapped to the ground every now and again. Like, I'm sick of it. We're getting a dominant. And now they're like, let's collect them all. I think that's kind of been their mentality now that they've had their final lunch tray slapped out of their hands, and it's done. It's over. So they've just gone full bad guy. But with a name like Imperials and Empire, of course, it's gonna happen. I am really looking forward to where this game is gonna go, because this is a lot darker than previous Final Fantasy games, considering, you know, we had the pixel ones, which were pretty dark, but it was pixel, so they couldn't accurately portray something so gnarly. And then other ones that were kind of like, they hit on the goofy anime. They were sad, but not that sad. There were no repercussions and stuff like that. That's it for my breakdown of the demo. Again, I highly recommend you play it yourself if you have a PS5, because I feel like you would be doing a disservice to yourself if you did not play it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story, the cutscenes, the fighting, all of it was really great. It was very intuitive and very smooth gameplay. So I hope you enjoyed my breakdown and explanation of the demo, and hopefully I'll do some more videos like this. I'm very nervous doing videos like these that require me to talk a good bit, if you couldn't tell by all the weird nervous laughter. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will continue to try to learn to edit and make better videos and do more explanations of stuff. So until next time, guys, have a good one. And please feel free to watch any of my other videos. Bye!